Hey y'all, we back again. Happy TGIF again. Hey. Y'all come on in here and hit the like button, please, and thank you. Go ahead and tap that bad boy if you already hit it. I thank you. I saw quite a few of you had already hit the like button. I thank you so much. And those of you who have not hit the like button yet, this your time. This is your time now. Won't you come? Hit that like button, okay? I appreciate you guys. I'm glad y'all are here. I'm glad you all made it back in here this Friday. Please thumbs up the video, like this video. If you're new and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And if you don't mind, hit that notification bell and make sure you click all so you'll know every time that we go live. Dr. Ivy, girl, you a member of the royal family now. Welcome, sis. I saw that crown. Now let me greet everybody, and then we're going to get into our topic for today. Okay, and we're going to chat just a little bit, and I promise not to keep you long. Hey, Dora. Renee, how you doing, Renee? Iridescent, you made it. How you doing, sis? Love you. All right. Who else we got up in here? That's my silver diamond. Deandra, how you doing, sis? It's so good to see you. BJ Dez, hey, sister. All right, we got Auntie Eva. Hey there. My beautiful Kia Coco Pop. My sister Spilla. What? Can you come over here to Houston tomorrow? Can you come in town tomorrow? Well, call me. Because I want you to come in town tomorrow if you can. I don't know if you're busy. Hey, Angie. Miss 305 in the building, y'all. Keisha Hooks is up in here. Hey, boo. All right, we got Plum. The beautiful CC Miller. How you doing, sis? E. Davis. Hey, darling. How are you? S. Collins. Hey, sister. Good to see you. Glennis. All right. How you doing, lady? I make 59 look good. We love you. I'm glad you made it. Maka. What's going on? Miss Sparkle. Our resident Mary Kay lady. Miss Sparkle, where your crown at? What's going on? If you need me to do something, let me know. Hey, Miss Wilson, how are you? Cherise, hey, Cherise, happy Friday, TGIF. Okay, Vita done made it here from Denver. You know it. We got Miss Bernice. Hey, Miss Bernice. The beautiful Niecy Rose is here. The lovely Nicole Lampley is here. My good sis, Dr. Ivy Girl, is here. I'm so glad to have you. We got DS. How are you? Okay, we got DH, which is the other D. We got DH and DS. We got all the D's. We got G Darling. The G's will not be outdone. They are in the building as well. Happy to be happy. Good to see you. Naturally Rooted. Hey, sis. Happy Friday to you. All right, we got my sister. I'm claiming her. Randa Diva, how are you? You say what now? You made it. You say what? You sure made it. I'm glad you're here. We got Shanika C, y'all. We try to hit her. Where's she at? There she go. How you doing? It's good to have you. Josie. All right. I'm so glad you made it. Happy Friday. If anyone else comes in, y'all know I'm going to beg you. Please welcome these folks to the chat. Make sure they know that they are highly welcome. If you're somebody who didn't speak in the chat and you're just here listening, please know that you are highly welcome. Please come again. Please come often. Hey, Cheryl, how are you? All right. Queen Me. Hey, sis, I'm glad you made it. Brown Skin Beauty. As I live and breathe. It's so good to see you. All right. So listen, Crown Chat is back. And today we're going to talk about some things that apply to all of us. So now I'm going to tell you this ahead of time. If it feels like I'm talking about your business, it's not because I know it. It's just because we all tend to go through the same experiences in different ways, if that makes sense. Okay, Miss Sparkle, got you. Hey, DS. So we all tend to go through the same things in our lives in different ways, right? So y'all saw the title for today, which was, after the storm. Living after life storms. Like we get storms. And when I say storm, y'all, I'm not talking about no minor inconveniences. I'm not talking about, you need to get gas and left your wallet at the house. I'm not talking about, your kid flunked the test at school. I'm talking about actual storms. When I say storms, It's like those are those situations where you'll find yourself saying things like, when it rains, it pours, but it's not rain, it's a real storm. I'm talking about that stuff where, you lose a parent and then you turn around and lose another person that's close to you. And then you turn around and there's repairs that's needed. And you turn around and you got kin folks acting crazy. Those storms sometimes where it's just the family that's doing things to you that they shouldn't do. And we got to figure out how to be healthy emotionally after we get out of these storms. And it's like everybody can tell you how to go through it. Oh, just pray about it. Y'all know I'm one of the first people that'll tell you to pray about it. For all my laughing, clowning, playing, and joking, y'all know most of you who have spoken to me even for 5 minutes know that's the first thing that I'm going to tell you to do. Go pray about it. But we got to figure out, what do we do after? What do you do after you've been betrayed? What do you do after you've been robbed? What do you do after you've worked on a job for 20 or 30 years and then you get treated like you don't matter? What do you do after? Hey, Bed-Stuy BK, how are you? What do you do after? After you've had a marriage and you've given this man most of your life, and then you find out he got children in the street that you didn't know nothing about. What do you do after? What comes after? Right, Auntie Eva, you still recovering from a storm? I've been through so many. So y'all know how it goes when we're in Crown Chat. If I'm on point, let me see a bullseye. If you paying attention and taking notes, throw your notepads in the chat. We got our own emojis. We got our own Royal Family emojis. If you are a channel member, the emojis are in the chat. When you hit the emoji button, that first group of emojis are our patented Royal Family emojis. Okay? So let's talk, because y'all know this is interactive. I want to hear from y'all too. How many of you are just getting out of a storm, or just recently getting out of a storm? Put a 1 in the chat if you're just recently getting out of a storm. I mean, it's over now, but you still feeling the effects of it. You bounced back from what they took from you, but you still reeling from what happened to you. Let's talk about it. Let's dig it on out. Y'all know how we do up in here. BJ Dez, you say you in a storm now. I know that's right. It's like that. That's going to be the next question. Okay, I see some ones. So we got some people that's just getting out of some storms. So you still reeling from it. You still marinating on it. Sometimes, and we're going to talk about the just got out folks first. And it's the reason I pulled the just got out of it folks first, because sometimes when you're just getting out of it, you can feel like in a way you're still in it, because it's almost like you're reliving it. Does that make sense? If it's ongoing, Auntie Eva, that means you're still in it. I'm going to get to the still in it next. But right now we're talking about, yeah, y'all still in it. Y'all next. But right now we're talking about the folks who are just getting out of it. And y'all should remember, because even if you're in a storm now, I'm sure this is not your first storm, is it? There's no way that this is your first storm. Not if you've been alive as long as I've been alive, or almost. The truth of the matter is, there's a reason why, even when the drama has ended, even when the worst of it has ended, when you stop crying, when you've gotten to the point where, okay, you know who's who, you know what to expect, it hurts your feelings, but you still replaying it in your mind over and over again. And I'm mentioning that not because I want you to beat yourselves up about the fact that you're replaying it, but to think about the fact of you're still replaying it because you haven't been able to deal with what to do after the storm. One of the reasons I think that we end up replaying what we've gone through is, I think, to a certain degree, emotionally and mentally, we're in shock, y'all. We're in shock. Hey, Debbie Parnell. I think we're in shock. I think when certain things happen, as much, especially as Black women, we're taught to be tough, be strong, You know, they come to you with that strong black woman bull crap, as though we don't have no emotions or no feelings. And you know, us being betrayed, we should just take it on the chin. You know, have a stiff upper lip and all that stuff. I don't know why, as black women, we're expected to be professional boxers. However, I encourage you that we're not. And it's okay to have those feelings. But I think that we go into shock because for all of our toughness, we're still women. Hey, Sharon Stanley, we're still women, and it still hurts. And I think, hey, I am unique. I know that one of the first things that we have to do when we just get out of that storm is acknowledge how we're feeling after. We got to acknowledge those feelings. That's one. If you feel hurt still, you need to acknowledge that, you know what, I'm out of it. The drama has ended. We went to court and it's done. I put him out and it's done. I got my kids straight and it's done. But after all of that, you got to be honest about how you feel. If you see, it's like, okay, it's done, but I still feel betrayed. I'm still hurt. My heart is still broken. It's okay for us to have feelings. It's okay for us to acknowledge that something hurt us. It doesn't mean that you're weak. It does mean that you're having a vulnerable moment. And you know what else? It's okay to have a vulnerable moment. We can't hand over our womanhood in the guise of trying to, or under the auspices of trying to take on this black female superhero caricature that's been forced on us. You feel numb. And if that's how you feel, sis, I respect it. And you got to be honest with yourself about this stuff. That's how we end up getting out of storms, y'all. And still dealing with the trauma associated with it. So much so that by the time you're going into your next storm, you never mentally and emotionally healed from the last one. You never did. Hey, Just Jules JG, I'm glad you're here too. Hey, Dana Cutler. So that's the thing. You got to acknowledge when you're just coming out, acknowledge how you feel about it and accept it. Accept it. Allow yourself to feel it, accept it, acknowledge it. And I'm going to tell you something. Forgiveness is important. That's right. That's right. If that's your story, acknowledge it. Say it out loud. Sometimes, y'all, saying things out loud takes the power away from that person. It takes your power back. It takes your power back in that moment. Because when we are forced to relive the things that gave us that trauma, it's like it's happening to you all over again. Even once the drama of the moment has passed, there's a thumbprint or a footprint that's left behind that you keep reliving. Even before you get to the point of forgiveness. And people are like, oh, you got to forgive. I agree. You do have to forgive because that is a part of healing. But I'm trying to tell you, before you even get to the point of forgiveness, get to the point of having peace. Get peace of mind for yourself. Meaning, if you need to cry, cry. If you need to tell somebody, you need somebody to listen, do that. Y'all know we talked about it before, and I know it's been a while. But if you don't have anybody in your immediate circle that you can trust with your feelings, it's time for you to remove some of those people from your circle. I'm just telling you this, just my thoughts. It don't mean I'm right, but those are just my thoughts on it. Now, next up, let's talk about the people who are currently going through a storm. Because see, I think this I don't know which one is more jarring to us emotionally and mentally. But when you're currently in a storm, let me see a 2 in the chat if you currently in a storm. Because we're going to dig into this one a little bit. And I promise not to keep y'all too long. Who's still currently going through a storm? I'm not currently going through one, but I went through one. Right, Vita. It's like a recording. It just keeps playing. I see the 2s going in the chat. Currently in a storm. I'm not currently in one. I landed in group number 1, where I just got out of one not long ago. But for the people who are currently in a storm, I want y'all to put in the chat what are some of the emotions that you're feeling? Because see, this is where the acknowledgement starts. If you can start acknowledging how you feel in the moment, it may be easier for you to acknowledge how you feel after the drama of the moment has passed. What are some of the emotions that y'all feel when you're in the middle of the storm? When I was in the last storm I was in, when my son was acting a fool, and it was some strange people in my child's ear, I'm going to tell y'all how I felt. I want to see what y'all got going on here. Angie, anger. Girl, I felt anger. I felt anger. You felt stuck. You feel stuck and lost. Okay. I felt anger. I felt frustrated. Dana, you felt overwhelmed. I felt absolutely, part of me felt numb. The other part of me, I went between rage and sadness, and then bitterness. Definitely felt bitterness. S. Collins, you felt feeling confused. Okay. Vulnerable. Okay, I knew what you meant. Overwhelmed, stuck, hurt, rage, stuck, and numb. Confused, powerless, and dismissed. That, you know, that feeling like you being dismissed when you're going through something, that's a drama all by itself. That's a whole other, in my opinion, you almost feel attacked when you're trying to get somebody to listen to what you're passing through, and they just keep brushing you off like it's no big deal. So I want to get past it, but it's hard because now I have to go through surgeries and more pain because of that man. I'm angry, frustrated, and feel powerless. Okay, you feel defeated. Whoo, girl, I went through that. That defeat is no joke. Shanna, you say all of the above. You felt all of the emotions. Okay. Feel like a crutch for everyone else, feeling used and drained, worn out. Got you. See, that to me, and this is just what I think, y'all. Y'all know me. I don't know everything, but I can tell you what I think about it. And I want to see what y'all think about things too. But for me, I feel like being able to, even in the middle of the storm, talk about how you are feeling right now will make it easier for you once you're out of the drama of the moment, for you to be able to say, okay, when I was in the middle of it, okay, Angie, there you go. That's a good example. While I was in the middle of it, I felt exhausted. And now I feel spent. I feel wrung out. I feel like I don't have any more resources left to give. I feel used. I still feel bitter. It's like the acknowledgement of what you're going through, which is important. It's so important. It starts while you're still in the storm, right while you're in the middle of it. Now I'm going to go a little bit further, because while we're in the middle of the storm, there's some important things that we got to consider, the toll that's being taken on us. There's a physical toll, an emotional toll, and a mental toll. Hey, Barbara. So you got to think about something, right? The thing is, how many of you know if you're having extreme emotional distress or even depression, even though y'all know I don't like that word, it can actually cause you to have physical symptoms. Y'all know that, right? Do y'all realize you can still have physical symptoms from something that is affecting you mentally? It's true. I'm telling you the truth. You felt powerless at the time. When you go through something that, hey, Queen Mermaid, when you go through something that has you depressed, so y'all are aware of that, right? It takes a physical toll on you. You will find yourself tired. You won't be wanting to get out of bed. You'll just want to get up, take a bath, and go lay back down. Because I hope ain't none of y'all like Robin Dixon and just wallowing in them sheets and not washing your tail. But it'll make you want to get up, take your children to school, take a bath, and get right back into bed and just lay there. It'll have you where you won't want to move physically. It will mess with you emotionally to the extent that you'll find yourself having emotional responses to things that don't match. And when I say that, I mean things where it's like somebody will say the slightest thing and you find yourself over the top angry. And you can't even explain why you're as mad as you are because what the person did not match your response. It's almost like you're walking around as just a raw nerve. That's that emotional toll. And then that mental toll, that's the stuff where I'm always saying therapy works, and we got to get rid of the stigma associated with Black people going to therapy. We need therapy. We want to be healthy. We're not animals. How we feel matters too. But those mental effects can bleed over into other aspects of your life. It can bleed over to the extent that you stop taking good care of yourself. You know, it can affect your future relationships. You're in therapy. That's a good move. And stay there and do the work. Don't run off. It's good for you. Stay there and do the work. Now, the other thing that I want to point out is while we're going through this and we're looking at all the tolls that it takes, we got to do something to combat those storms while we're in them that gets you ready for that time after the storm. If you get in the habit of praying while you're in the middle of a situation, it'll be that much easier to pray when you get out of it. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the God heaven truth. If you start praying while you're in it, it'll be easier once you get out of it. It really will. It'll be easier for you to pray because you will have already developed that habit. Sometimes while you're going through the storm, that's one of the biggest gifts that you can get from those moments is that it strengthens your prayer life. You know, sometimes nothing makes you pray better than some pressure. Don't nothing make you pray better than some pressure. It'll change your whole relationship with that word prayer. And so then we get to the after. And then there's another group that we all in, whether you know it or not, and that's group 3, where there's a storm on the horizon. Let me tell you something. That's in my experience, that's been life. And I think that that moment after the storm, we have to recognize, like, look, I need to find peace with this. I need to find a way to cope with this. I need to acknowledge what I'm feeling and beat this for one main reason. There's another storm coming. Don't think for 1 minute just because you got out of one and you just went through another one that there won't be another one. Life is full of struggles. Another storm is on the way. But after the fact, I feel like after every storm, you should get stronger and stronger. After every one. What you learned from the previous storm, you should take that into the next one. We have to find ways to make ourselves all right. Acknowledge how you're feeling. Address the person who harmed you if you can. If you're not able to talk directly to that person or you don't feel like you're ready to do that, write a letter. They never have to read it. But write a letter to the party that offended you. And you know what else? The party that caused you harm or hurt doesn't even have to be a flesh and blood person. It can be a circumstance. You can write a letter to Cancer. Dear Cancer, you can kiss my foot. You took my sister-in-law. You took my mother-in-law. You know, it doesn't have to be a flesh and blood person. Sometimes those things, and I know it sounds crazy when I say stuff like that, but I promise y'all I'm not crazy. Writing those letters means a lot. And then sometimes sit down and write down what you've learned in the situation. Now, mind you, when I say that, that is not a way for you to blame yourself for the things that life throws at you. That's not what it's for. Mm-mm. Write down what you learned from it. So when you go through the next one, you won't have the tendency to forget what you learned and have to relearn the same lesson over and over again. I'm telling you, The last storm I got out of, I learned to stay calm. I learned not to let my rage get the best of me. I learned not to overreact. I learned to stop and think and not talk to anybody while I'm praying before I take action. Like, you got to think about what you learn. I went through a storm many years ago, and in that storm, I learned that I'm not in control, God is. I learned that everybody who smile at you ain't your friend. Sometimes you got to write down these lessons. And if you grab a journal, y'all know I love a good journal and a notebook. If you keep a journal or you keep a record or a diary or however you record things of the different things you learn with these different storms, I'm telling you, you will find that you are better equipped for the storms you're going through now than you were 5 years ago or 10 years ago, because they keep coming. They're not going anywhere. And that's not a reason for us to be depressed, but it's definitely a reason for us to adjust, learn, get better, get stronger, make better choices about the people we have in our circles, and find your peace. Because sometimes the people who put us through the most are the people who are the closest to us. Let me tell you something. I don't, I'm not gonna go off on no tangent. Y'all know me. When it's a crown chat, I try to be mindful. Hey, Sharon Foner, I try to be mindful of the time constraints. But I'm gonna share this with y'all. I went through a rough, hey Wani, a rough patch with my middle sister, not my elder sister, the one who's deceased. My middle sister, the one that's still here. And it was rough, y'all. Oh my God, it was rough. She was struggling with her own addictions. She was living all kind of ways. It was embarrassing. And I was still taking care of her kid. And I went through it where it looked like my mother was taking sides with this lady, with my sister, while she was doing all this crazy stuff. And I was at the time doing everything I could. I was cleaning my house and driving 30 and 40 minutes to go clean my mama's house, y'all. And I was jumping up every Sunday going to church. And when mama didn't want to drive, I was going by her house and driving her to church with me. Hey, D. Marie, I'm doing everything I can. I'm hearing mama complaining about me saying all kind of crazy stuff. And then and it was just hurtful. It was a lot. And then daddy got sick. And then I was trying to see about daddy and see about mama while she's complaining about me. I'm trying to see about her. And things was crazy at the church at the time. And I was still with my first husband, and I ain't really like him that good at the time. And it was a lot of stuff going on there. And then it was like, to crown it all, my sister started messing around with a man who had tried to do something horrible to me. And I'll leave it right there. I won't go into no detail. And that was just like the crescendo. And I shared that story with y'all to point out something. Hey, Rochelle, when you're in the middle of it and it looks like it's one thing coming at you after the other, after the other, after the other, just know there's going to be a crescendo. There's going to be the one thing that feels like you hit a brick wall. There's going to be that thing that shows up after you fought off everything else, after you swung at this one, after you swung at that one. Hey, my Christian Key. After you dodge this bullet, after you dodge that bullet, there's going to be that one thing that you feel like is so heavy it's going to break you. There's always going to be that one thing that makes you feel like, okay, I've been delivered from X, Y, and Z, but I'm about to go back in. There's always going to be that one thing that makes you question your sanity. It's going to be that one thing that makes you want to dig deep down in that dark bag of tricks that you thought you put up. It's going to be that one thing that you think you can't bounce back from, and you're just going to be plunged into depression. But after you hit that wall, it's almost like after a hurricane. Y'all ever notice after a hurricane, the sky is always the bluest, the prettiest? I mean, the air is the freshest. Hey, Egypt now. That's that time after the storm. That's when it's time to clean up. After that storm came through and tore up your whole life, some of y'all have been through some stuff that I couldn't imagine. I know I done been through some stuff y'all can't imagine. But after that storm comes through and it just scatters your whole life, after it tears up your money, after it tears up your home, after it tears up your sanity, sometimes it leaves your body torn up. You got injuries, physical injuries you got to recover from. Sometimes after it tears up your credit because your cousin done went and charged up a bunch of stuff in your name. That's when it's time to pick up the pieces. Part of finding peace in the middle of those moments, you got to find the beauty in it. You got to find the lesson that you learned. Got to find the lesson that you learned. Record it, write it down. Write a letter to the offending party or parties. If it's 3 or 4 of them, write 3 or 4 letters. Get it out. If you can't just go to that person and say, hey, what you did hurt me, and this is how you hurt me, and have them really hear you and not brush you off, because that's not easy. Hey, Miss Gigi, that's not easy at all. And then after you do that and you find the beauty in it, you find the lesson in it, you approach, hey, April Watkins, you approach and you acknowledge or call out the offending parties. If you can't do it in person, write the letter. And then you gotta get to a point where you can just accept that this happened to me and it was out of my control. But you got to make a decision whether you want to keep living or whether you just gonna die right now. Not saying that you're gonna take yourself out, but when you get to a point where you can't move past that moment, you died right there. You died right there. So you got to make a decision whether you're going to keep living, whether you got something to live for. You got people to live for. You have goals you still want to accomplish. You got to make a decision whether you're going to keep living or whether you're going to die right there in that moment and you're never going to move past that moment. That time after the storm is hell, y'all. It's pure D. But it's important. And I'm telling you, it's like, for me, if you approach it with the right outlook, it can actually be a beautiful moment. It doesn't have to be a depressing moment. It doesn't have to be a daunting moment. Let me see what y'all talking about in this chat. I be missing so much when I'm running my mouth. Rochelle says, I know what you're saying. So much of your story sounds like mine. Girl, that's just one of them. And if you look at your life, I bet you got a few more stories there. That's what I'm saying. We go through so much. And that's why I don't mind sharing, because I know for a fact that a lot of times, whatever you're going through, somebody else has been through it. You're not the only one. This sounds like a little bit of my story with my middle sister. Girl, them middle sisters is something else, ain't they? You got to watch them. They get a little slippery. And the thing is, when it's family, it makes it even more difficult because you can't just stop loving your family. I would hope you wouldn't. I would hope not. They use us sometimes, but I would hope you wouldn't do that. Let me try to get a couple more of y'all's comments. And then we're going to do a quick recap of our takeaways for today. Sometimes you get tired from picking up the pieces. That's a good point. Now, that's the kind of input that I want, because we're going to get into that. Why they say, nah, I'm a middle sis. I'm just playing. Why they ain't saying all y'all going to cut us. Or sometimes the middle sisters be a bit, you know what I'm saying? Y'all be a little rough sometimes. Okay. Debbie says, my inner circle is very small and I'm very private, so I found journaling my comfort zone. That's a very good one. But this one right here, this I felt, this a lot of y'all have felt, is that fatigue. The fatigue. Because after a while of the repeated storms, you start to feel like I'm just tired. I keep going through stuff. And sometimes it's like before you can get out of a storm good, another one is brewing. The fatigue. Now, I'm not gonna be silly because this is one of our serious chats. But I'm gonna be can I be a little silly? Because I want y'all to guess. When you hit that area of just being fatigued and being tired. Now, y'all know me, some of y'all do. A lot of y'all know who I am or the type of person I am. What you think I'm gonna tell you to do? What do you think I'm going to tell you to do when you get tired like that? Yep, it's like that. Mm-hmm. No, I didn't throw mine away. We ain't gonna lighten it too much. See, that's what these crown chats are, D. We have some uncomfortable conversations sometimes, but I promise it's for a good reason. Randa said the pandemic added some challenges to our mental health as well. Mm-hmm. Okay, and see, Angie know me. Angie know me. That's exactly what I'm gonna tell you to do. Pray. Pray. Because let's be honest, a lot of times the people that are around you, even though they love you, they really can't understand how you feel, because how you feel is what's in your head and what's in your heart. They will never be able to understand, no matter how you express it, what you're feeling. That's number one. And number two, even if they understand, they sympathize and they empathize, they can't give you the strength you're going to need to get through it. You got to pray. See, I love it. I love it. Because some of y'all know me well. I see them answers jumped in there. Pray. DS say, get your hands and feet done like I do. If you exhausted and you going through it, say it for Nicole. Prayers up. Let me tell you something. There's nothing as powerful here on this side than a praying saint. You got to pray. D8 says, I had to learn how to address the problem situation, then let go. Exactly. You got to let go so you can find the beauty in the situation. So you can see, okay, this is what I learned from it. Address it either with the person or the situation directly, or write that letter. You can bury the letter, burn the letter, tear it up. I don't care what you do with it. Just express it, just so you can take the power away from that moment. Because until you do, you're going to end up reliving it. It's going to play over and over in your head. It's going to live rent-free in your head. Nicole saying, that's all I know how to do. Keep that armor 24/7. You better. BJ Dead said, that's exactly how I feel now. I'm just tired of fighting. So when you're tired of fighting, you know you got a father, right? You know we're not illegitimate. We have a father. We can lean on him and we can lay on him. If you tired, you know who to lean on. Come on now. Kid Coco Pop say, had to just recently forgive my brother on my father's side, as I discovered through therapy that he and his girlfriend, blanked me as a little girl, forgiveness and prayer. Yes. You know I can't say them words, they'll flag me. Egypt says, it seems like just because I can weather storms don't mean that's what I always want to do. Right. But like we said earlier, just because we don't like them, it doesn't mean that they're not coming. They're still coming. They're still coming. We just have to find a different way to cope. We got to find a different way to cope, because guess what? The fact that we're tired is not going to make this type of thing stop happening. Ms. Gigi say, life isn't promising. Sometimes we get into situations by default and you are not prepared for it. It's challenging. Yes, but we know what to do. We know what to do. Barbara said, I just did that. I kept praying, and before I knew it, I wasn't crying all day, every day. Right. That's what I'm talking about. Ray all day. Hey there. That's right. Don't stop. Hey, LEL. Say prayer is a mighty weapon at the disposal of every man or woman who loves the Lord. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she is strong, honey. She's a soldier. Dee Marie said, I remember I prayed a few months ago, and I swear 2 days later, a different way literally knocked at my door. Right. You can forgive without forgetting the lesson. Absolutely. You still got to learn the lesson. Forgiveness is about, we talked about this in the Crown Chat a few months back. And forgiveness in my book is about laying the blame where it belongs, not with flesh and blood. And some of y'all know just what I'm talking about. Forgiveness is laying the blame where it belongs and accepting that this person allowed the enemy to use them. And then let that be their problem and not yours, and move on. You ain't got to hold no grudge. You don't have to be angry. You don't have to be bitter, even though for a while you might be, because it's human nature. But until you get to the place where you're able to calmly lay the blame where it belongs, and you still wrestling with unforgiveness, you can still learn your lesson and find some peace for yourself until you're ready. Because let's be honest, some of the stuff we go through, we're not ready to forgive right away. It may take you to grow spiritually on your own before you're even able to forgive some folks. How many of y'all know people can do some stuff to you that it might take you some years to get to that place of forgiveness? I've had some things done to me. It took me years to get myself where I could forgive these people. And yes, they was kinfolks, unfortunately. Plum say this right on time. I'm dealing with youngest who has recently displayed mental illness and doesn't think he's ill. He won't let me help him. My heart is so heavy every day. Girl, just pray. You say what now? Say prayer is the answer. I ask for comfort while I grow through the storm and have been sleeping every night. Right. That's what I want you to do. Sleep good. Don't let it disturb your rest. But I will also say, if you're not able to, and it does disturb your rest, it's okay. Y'all know I'm the first one to tell you, it's okay not to be okay. Right. And right, Bed-Stuy BK. And don't trust them no more. Don't trust them no more. Sometimes you just got to understand, you got to give people a whole lot of left alone. Some people need some left alone. Some people need a whole lot of left alone. Because you got to consider, even in forgiveness, when you're putting the blame where it belongs, this person still allowed the enemy to use them. And guess what else? You probably going to let him use you in 5 more minutes. Get away from him. Don't mean I hate you. It doesn't mean that I bear you any grudge, but you got to go. Because you're a liability. You're a liability. Well, not just many times, every time. Because when you don't forgive, you can't be forgiven. And when you don't forgive, you're hurting yourself. DS says, I know I'll never trust them and will always side-eye them. Right. Keep your eye. Once you see a rattlesnake, you don't pretend like he turned to a garden snake just because he ain't biting you at the moment. You know what he's capable of. Once you know something, y'all realize you can never unknow what you know. What you know will always be what you know. And you ain't gonna never be able to unknow it. I don't care how long you live and what you do. Right. Exactly, Josie. Y'all know that's doggone that's doggone near my answer for everything. Pray. Your song for the day is I Told a Storm. That's your song. My song for the day is The Storm is Passing Over. Hallelujah. Shanika say that's why I say you have to remember the message. Remember, I told you, Shanika, you can write it down. Grab your journal and sit down by yourself. Get quiet. Get you a cup of tea, cup of coffee, cup of whatever you like, and take your time and sit down and seriously think and write down what you learned from everything that you just passed through. Sit down and think about it. Give it a thought. Because it's just something about writing it down that helps you commit it to memory. Why y'all think we had to take notes while we were still in school? Because writing it down helps you to remember. It helps you learn. Mm-hmm. Wanda, you say you got a little cousin like that. You don't fool with her, but you love her. Right. That's right. Things are just going to happen. Now, Debbie says, as long as you got breath in your body, the storms are going to come. But put your trust in God and he'll direct your every move through the storm. It's true. Listen, it ain't nothing but the truth. I wouldn't fool you. I wouldn't fool you. I would not. So now let's recap. Let's recap. We haven't had us a recap of our takeaways in a long time. So let's look at our takeaways. Let's talk about our takeaways. 1, we got group 1. And group 1, we got the people who are just getting out of a storm. Folks like me. I'm not currently in one, thank God. But I just got out. So the group 1 are the just got outs. And when you just got out, we talked about and we revisited the fact that it's good to write down and journal not only your feelings, your emotions, negative and positive, but also journal and write down what you learned from the storm you just got out of. Write it down. Find your peace in trying to find the lesson and finding the beauty in the situation. Okay? And remember to pray. Now the group and what we learned about group 2, which are the people who are currently in the storm, is that if you start expressing and acknowledging how you're feeling while you're going through it, while you're in the middle of it, it'll be easier to acknowledge how you feel after the fact. You'll have a base point. You'll have a starting point. At the time I felt angry, now I just feel tired. At the time, I felt bitter and frustrated, but right now I just feel used and I feel exhausted. So while you're in group 2 and you're currently going through it, acknowledge how you're feeling. Also, while you're in group 2, let it be an opportunity for that pressure that you're feeling to increase your prayers. Increase how much you pray. Don't be there suffering for nothing. Is what I'm saying. And while you're in the middle of it, draw on the lessons that you learned from your previous storms. That's why I want you to write down what you learned. So when you get a chance to, when you have the unfortunate opportunity to go through your next storm, you can take a look at your journal and say, well, I learned this last time. I learned that last time. I don't want to do that again. That didn't serve me well. And then we talked about group 3 briefly, but I'm going to hit it again on our recap of our takeaways. Now, our takeaway for group 3 is that another storm is coming. Another storm is coming. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how young you are. I don't care how saved you are. I don't care how unsaved you are. You either in a storm, just got out of one, or on your way back into one. Everybody in this room is a group 3. There's another storm coming. It is never going to be all clear on the Western Front. There's never going to be a moment where everything is sunshine and daisies forever. You might have a sunshine and daisies today, but I can guarantee you, if you keep getting up in the morning, if you keep living, that something is going to rattle your cage. There are going to be some storms that come through and shake the windows on your house. And what we have to remember about group 3 is that as long as you're living, another storm is coming, but also that as the storms keep coming, we should be getting stronger. You shouldn't cry like you cried during your first storm when it's storm number 20. You done been through this before. You're supposed to have learned lessons from the previous storms. Vanessa, hey girl, working and peeking in. Hey, not your twins, mama. How you doing? It's the truth. They're coming. They are coming. And we have to make peace with it. You got to find your peace, because I'm telling you, if you don't find your peace, you're going to be like what Dee Marie was saying, exhausted. You're going to find yourself feeling like, I'm just tired of picking up the pieces. I'm glad to hear it, sis. Sometimes we need to. That's why we would come in here and have our crown chats. I just took a break from it. I didn't throw them away. I just took a break. BJ Dad says, I had to seek therapy to try and help me get out of this storm. I never realized how numb I've been for over 10 years over something that happened so long ago. I'm telling you, that's what happens when we sweep it under the rug. When we let people tell us we got to be strong Black women instead of allowing us to just be women. It's okay if we cry. I may not be the world's biggest crier. However, if I want to cry, I'm going to cry. It's my right as a woman. But when we get pushed into these boxes that we never asked nobody for, that we got to play like we tough, we got to pretend and say, oh, that ain't hurt my feelings. Yes, the hell it did. Stop telling lies. Stop telling lies. I don't care. Yes, you do. Stop lying. Admit how you're feeling. That's right. As long as you breathe, it's going to be another one. It's just the truth. You say you think at times you forget what you learned. Grab that journal. Write it down. See, this is the thing for group 3. The fact that, there you go, Angie, you're going to have some lumpy rugs in your house because the storm's going to keep coming. You're going to keep having the aftermath. You're going to keep having that after the storm experience. And if you don't deal with it head on, the only thing that you're going to feel is frustrated, exhausted, tired. You're going to find yourself praying for the Lord not to wake you up the next morning. You're going to be tired of being on this side of the dirt. Take the lessons you learn, hold them, because you're going to need them. Express and acknowledge how you felt. Be honest about it. I don't care if people think you crazy. It's okay. People think I'm crazy all the time. I'm used to it. Y'all get used to it. If I talk about something that happened to me 10 years ago, I may not still be angry or I may not still be hurt, but I can still tell you when I went through that, I was so hurt. I was so hurt. Talk about it. And the other reason why it's good to talk about it is because you don't know how you talking about what you survived and what you've been through might help somebody else. That's right. It's okay not to be okay. You say, work through it. Prayer help me. That's right. That's right. That's exactly what I said. If your sister ain't got enough oil and you do, share it. Give her some of the oil from your lamp if you got enough and she don't. Sometimes people need to hear what you've been through because they need the encouragement that they can get through it too. CW say Black women globally are the only women society expects to be strong and detached from vulnerability and detached from your emotions, period. They expect us to be betrayed by the men we've been most loyal to. They expect us to watch our babies gunned down in the street and jump up on a TV and say, I forgive you, to some clear cop. They expect you to be all right with your daughters being objectified in rap videos and on reality shows. They expect you not to have any feelings when people try to replace you with folks that don't look nothing like you. They expect you not to have any feelings. We're not animals. We have a right to our emotions. We were made this way. And for too long, we've allowed people to make us go against our very nature. We've allowed it. We've allowed people to make us feel like we were doing something wrong and evil by demanding our rights as women, just to be women. When you come out of those storms, take what you learned with you. Write it down. If you learn that everybody that show you their teeth ain't smiling, write it down. Sometimes they showing you their teeth because they getting ready to bite you. Write it down. If you learn, I can't leave my purse in the car with Cud and Jimmy because Cud and Jimmy be stealing, write it down. You know, you might need to remind yourself. Whatever you learn from it, write it down. Don't blame yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Learn from it. Keep a record of it. Because I can guarantee you, while you may not ever laugh at what happened to you, you're going to eventually get to a point where you can live with it. And you'll be able to talk about it. Ladies, you got to get it out. We don't owe it to anybody to sit up and pretend like we okay when we not. Hey, country mama. We don't owe that to nobody, baby. We just don't. That's right, Angie. Prayer workshop is tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Central. We got to deal with life after the storm, and I'm telling you, if you do just those little things, and I'm sure y'all got some other practices that you have that help you after the storm. I'm just sharing with you what helped me. Because let me tell you something. I don't respond to the storms the way I used to. Hey, King Dini. I don't respond to them the way I used to. I used to get worked up and act a fool. Oh, there was a time where y'all could have legit changed my name to Act a Monkey, because that's what I was going to do, Act a Monkey. But as you keep going through things, sometimes what I want y'all to understand is that even though the enemy might be bringing these storms, your father is allowing these storms. And I want to encourage you before I go that sometimes he's allowing what the enemy is sending to reach you just enough to perfect you. Sometimes he's allowing what the enemy is sending your way to touch you just enough to perfect you. So learn from it so he can continue to perfect you. You won't go through it the same way you went through it last year. You won't go through it the same way you went through it the year before. You won't find yourself on the brink of depression, on the brink of caving in, on the brink of giving up. If you can just accept the fact that your father loves you and all things work to good for you because you love him and you call according to your purpose. He's allowing a little bit of the fire, just a little bit, to touch you because he's trying to perfect something in you. Go through the whole gamut of emotions. Acknowledge them. Say it out loud. Take the power away from the moment, because it's not for us to dwell in the bad. We just need to acknowledge the bad so we can move past it. Because listen, some of the things we went through that was so unpleasant, if you look back, we learned some beautiful lessons from those storms that we went through. Say, you kept repeating lessons until I learned them. Right. Learn from them, and you won't have to keep how they used to call it in school, CW, staying back. Go ahead and learn the lesson so you don't have to stay back. So you can learn the next lesson. And I know it's hard to imagine when you're still in the middle of it, but the truth of the matter is, I promise you, it gets sweeter. You're never going to get to a point where you love the storm, but you're going to get to a point where you can laugh at the storm. You'll get to a point where you can open your mouth, and some of my sisters who've been coming to work to that workshop and to Bible study know you can tell the storm what to do. You can tell that storm to get out your way. But sometimes, not sometimes, every time, you got to go through to get to that point. And it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to say that, hey, this one hurt my feelings. Oh, you're welcome and thank you. I'm glad you're here. That's right. Hard head make a soft tail. Yours felt like cotton. You so silly. You found bullet journaling? Right. It's so many different styles of journaling. Find one that works for you and write things down. And then do my favorite thing in the world, pray. Only thing I like to do better than pray is eat. Well, I don't like to eat more than pray, but it's right back there, right up under pray is eat. And right up under eat is laugh. Or maybe eat and laugh is a tie. Possibly. But that's what I wanted to share with us today. I wanted us to kind of come here and talk about those storms and what life looks like after the storm. Deandra says, sis, this was such a great lesson. These are family chats that I miss the most. Thanks for allowing God to work through you. I pray God blesses you and your family. Thank you so much, and may he bless you too. Listen, I enjoyed you guys. And you know what else? It felt good to have our crown chat back. And I hope y'all can forgive me, because I know the way I move sometimes look a little funny. Y'all be like, well, dang, she just stopped the crown chats and she ain't saying nothing. But I promise you, I was led to handle that way. And we back now. So don't worry. And I'm just so excited. Just a quick reminder before I jump off, because I do have to go. But a quick reminder before I jump off. Prayer workshop is tomorrow. This will be our third prayer workshop. The first two, if you missed them, I'm here to tell you, you missed a good time. That will be tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Central Time. Also, tomorrow night is the African Heritage Ball. That will be at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be fun. Okay, so bring yourself and your storm, and we're gonna have us a good time. And we're gonna try to at least take your mind off it for one good night while we have us a good time. But you know, even though we have a good time over here with the royal family, y'all know we keep it clean though. Like they said on Friday, they tens, but we keep them clean though. So ain't no change here. We might have tens, but we keep them clean. So listen, I enjoyed you guys. I can't wait to see you all again tomorrow for both occasions. I'm very excited. I hope y'all have a wonderful evening. If anything interesting happens, I will come back online. I don't know that anything interesting will. However, if anything interesting does happen online or with the rich folks or whatever, I promise you, I'll be back online. But in the meanwhile, again, I enjoyed you. Those of you who already hit the like button, I thank you. I salute you. And if you haven't had the opportunity to hit the like button yet, please, I encourage you to go ahead and hit the like button right now. I'd surely appreciate it if you did that. And again, as I always say, y'all, be positive, be productive, make sure that you stay encouraged, and most importantly, remember, please, to encourage somebody else. It won't cost you a thing. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you later. Bye now.